Our first question comes from Jake Donovan from Boxing Scene. Jake, when you're ready, please go ahead.
Thanks, Evan. Appreciate it. Hey, Mikaela.
Hey.
First, congratulations on getting this fight. I know it's been a long time coming. Like you said, you've been calling out all the champions for a very long time. How long specifically has Brodnicka been on your radar?
Brodnicka has, so I don't even want to say that one specifically has been on my radar, because I know that we were going after, it was tricky. We were going after Ewa Wallström, who was the WBC champ. And this was about a year ago. We were in negotiations, and I woke up one day and the fight went to Terry Harper. So Terry Harper beat Ewa Wallström, which I assumed that she would. I never really thought that Ewa was all that great. And so now Terry Harper has the belt. And so I kind of came at her for a little while saying, that I was number one contender. That should have been my world title fight. She ranked number 13 and she kind of skipped the line there, but this is boxing. That's how things work out. So my radar was sort of directed towards her, but then when the WBO made it mandatory and we realized that, okay, let's start going after the other champs, then I started looking in Ewa Brodnicka's way. But I was ready to fight anyone with a belt.
Very cool. And I got one more question for you. But Bob, I did want to ask you, after Mikaela mentioned that she was mad when Wallström wound up fighting Terry Harper, she gave you the mandate that the next fight had to be a title fight. How soon did you get to work on making that happen?
Well, when Mikaela gives the order, we step with the tension and try to get it done. I mean, we're very proud of Mikaela. She's comported herself tremendously, both in and out of the ring. And she's going to be a great world champion and a great credit to women's boxing.
Yeah, thanks. And then, Mikaela, my final question for you, not just getting this title shot, what does it mean that it's coming on a card of this magnitude?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's huge. I am honored that Top Rank has really moved me in the way that they have, and not just me, but believed in women's boxing. And I think that they've moved me perfectly. I think they've put me on some amazing cards. And it's just been giving me the platform that I wanted, the platform that women's boxing needed. And I always felt like a duty to, I know they signed me, they obviously believed in me, but I always felt a duty to still prove to them that they made the best decision. They signed the best female they possibly could, and I wanted to live up to their expectations and their hopes for me. So this is a big card, co-main event. It's big for women's boxing as well, and it's great. It's only going up from here. Some big things for the sport.
Thank you so much, Jake. And our next question comes from Fight Hype's Sean Zettel. Sean, please go ahead when ready.
Hey, Mikaela. Thanks for the time today. You said recently that, Coach Al and them are training you like you're fighting up against a god, but you said you don't feel that she's on your level. Ewa isn't. Why do you feel that way, Mikaela, that she's not on your level?
I've seen her fight, and it's not really about her, it's really about me and where I am in my career and how much I've developed over the last couple of years. And even just this year, this pandemic, I've only had 2 fights, but we've been in training camp for 4. I've been training back to back to back nonstop, 13 pro fights in 3 years. I've been working hard and I'm peaking as an athlete. I'm really coming into my own. And so it's really not about Ewa. It's really about me. They always train me like I'm going up against someone amazing. And I always have to be like, you guys, don't worry, just relax. I got this. But that's what good coaches do. They're looking at everything Ewa Brodnicka does really, really well. And then they're acting as if she does it even better than how she actually does it. So they're preparing me for a really strong, sharp version of Ewa Brodnicka. And then, like I said, in return, that is making me the sharpest, most technical, sound version of Mikaela Mayer. So this is more just about my journey and where I feel like I am as an athlete. And I feel like I'm the best in this division. I just don't feel that anyone can beat me right now.
She could do a few frustrating things in there. I'm sure, as you know, she gets on her bike sometimes. And then on the inside, she'll just clinch quite a bit, How do you deal with those kind of tactics in this fight?
You're exactly right. And it can be. That's what Coach Al sort of has been instilling in me in this whole camp. And listen, I know that you are the better fighter, but that can be a frustrating style when someone's constantly moving or when someone's holding. So he's really prepared me for that. It's not obviously when she decides to get up on her bike and move, it's not about chasing her. It's about walking her down and staying behind the jab, which is he's big on. And then when she wants to come in there and hold, it's not letting her do that, keeping that space, working her body, and not letting her push me back, but stay grounded, hold my ground, and push her back.
Thank you so much, Sean. And we go ahead to ESPN.com's Eric Woodyard. Eric, please go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Mikaela?
Hi.
Yeah, pretty good. So I have a question. Obviously, when you step it up in title fights, the mental focus and everything increases on this level. For you, you spoke about the pandemic and everything like that. How were you able to, stay at your best throughout this time? Like you said, it's your second fight of 2020. Just the mental focus. How are you able to do that throughout the pandemic and be your best, as you say you feel like at this time?
I mean, it obviously was a little bit difficult. Everyone's worried about catching this virus, and hey, it happened to me. I did a whole camp and I go in there and I test positive for COVID, have to quarantine and restart the whole camp over again. So there was a little relief in this camp, thinking like, okay, I already went through it. Hopefully, I can't, I think it's a little more difficult to catch it again. So there was a relief there, but I mean, this is what I love to do. And nothing was going to stop me from getting in the gym and being my best. Like, I understand that gyms are closed and everybody needs to stay quarantined. But I mean, the second this happened, I set up a gym in my backyard. And when I felt like that wasn't enough, I hopped in my car and drove across country to Coach K to start training, because I didn't want to go near Coach Al since he's a little older. I didn't want to get him sick. Like, I just do what I have to do to get it done. So there's really no excuse for the pandemic or anything that's going on. Like, you got to get it done. So I don't think it's made it any more difficult for me. It's just got to roll with the punches.
Thank you very much, Eric. And next we go to Matt from Behind the Gloves. You're unmuted. Please ask your question. And Matt, before you go, again, a reminder, raise hand button, private message, and we'll get to your questions. Matt, go ahead.
Hi, Mikaela. When you hear Brodnicka say that you're slower than her with not so good legs, do you believe that she's saying that to get in your head, or that she just completely believes that?
I think that's her just looking at my tape and trying to come up with something to say, because she knows that I do everything better than her. It also shows me her IQ, because if you look at my fights, I'm not slow. I'm not flat-footed. I have great feet. And she may think that because she likes to hop and move around and jump around the ring, but that's not necessarily good boxing. She's hopping around, jumping in circles, but she's not even punching when she's moving. So I don't think she believes anything that she's saying. I think that she's hyping up the fight and talking a big game, but I don't think she believes what she's saying. I think she knows I'm the better fighter. She knows I'm fast. She knows I'm strong. She knows I'm more technically sound, and she's just playing into the hype.
You've said recently your boxing skills over the last 10 months have improved, so much. Can you give us a little bit of an insight onto what you think you've improved on, in this period?
Yeah. So like I said, even though this is only my second fight, like I've had 4 camps back to back. And so what happens when you have camps is you're constantly peaking yourself, right? And so I really just jumped level. Stop. Sorry. But we're always working on something new every camp. My coaches don't want me to be complacent. They don't want me to be a one-dimensional fighter. And it takes time to do that transition from the amateurs to the pros. So yeah, I've been pro for 3 years, but I'm still really settling into that style. My first half of my pro career, you guys saw me like working the body. And a lot of people were like, why isn't she using her height and reach? Why isn't she using her height and reach? And that's because we were training I already know how to use my height and reach. Maybe people watching me as a pro didn't know that because I wasn't doing that, but I already knew how to do that. Coach Al and Coach K needed me to learn how to fight on the inside. So I was learning on the job and I was practicing. And then this last fight against Helen Joseph, we got back to boxing and moving. So now people are going to see, okay, she wants to go and she wants to fight on the inside, but no, I can box and I can move too. And so now it's about putting both of those styles together and keeping them guessing.
Cheers, Mikaela.
Thank you very much, Matt. And if I can find her unmute button, we will get the Crystal Heart. Hold on 1 second, Crystal. You should be unmuted. Please go ahead when ready. Hold on, sorry about that, Crystal. You should be unmuted. All right. While we wait for Crystal to unmute, Mikaela, I mean, you haven't dealt with many opponents who. Go. Oh, Crystal, I got it here. Okay. Crystal, you're going to make me filibuster there for a second. So go ahead when ready, Crystal. Thank you.
I saw one of your tweets about you were so excited about the Lomo Lopez fight and the right uppercut. Could you tell me then what happened afterwards when you went into the gym, how this maybe invigorated you and your training?
Yeah, so what's a little bit different with me, I think, is I live with my coaches for the entire camp. So I did the first 9 weeks up at Coach Al's house. I live in his room downstairs. Like, we have breakfast together, dinner together. I mean, everything is boxing for over 2 months, right? And then I come here to Colorado, and Coach K joins us, and we're just all under one roof. So I just don't escape it. Like, I wake up in the morning, I just want to have my coffee, and the first thing I hear about is what we're like, listen, today I really want you to work on this. Really, I want you to step over. I mean, we're doing step around drills in the kitchen, like in my pajamas in the morning. And so, of course, after that Lopez fight, those nice uppercuts, and that's something that we've really been working on as well, to catch people coming in, is that nice tight right uppercut. And it's a skill. It's to learn how to throw those uppercuts properly, especially if you've got someone like Coach Al, who's a technician and wants everything done perfectly. It's been months and months of trying to perfect those uppercuts. So when he saw Lopez do it, it was like, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. I'm like, okay, I got it.
Okay, good. Hey, and when you tested positive, did you have any symptoms, or you took the test and had so it all?
My antibody test showed that my IgG was positive, which means I had come in contact with it months ago. So I don't really remember ever being sick. I must have been asymptomatic, but it was still just lingering in my system. So it wasn't recent, and I couldn't really pinpoint like when I would have had it. But yeah, I don't know.
And we got a couple more minutes with Mikaela, and then we will go on to Jason Moloney. Gail, you were unmuted. Please go ahead when ready.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mikaela. Your dogs have been making my dogs bark, so if we hear them all together, everybody, I'll just apologize up front. I read that your favorite fighter who influenced you was Vernon Forrest, who, of course, Coach Al trained, who's been gone, gosh, more than a decade. I'm curious how that came about and what Coach Al's told him about you.
Yeah.
And how, on a third question, what living fighter do you most admire today?
Okay, well, yes. Vernon Forrest was not only like one of Coach Al's fighters, but I think it was someone, it really hurt him when Vernon passed. And because it was unexpected, he died young. And so I just learned this the other week, but the year Vernon died is the year I went up to Marquette and met with Coach Al. And so I've been hearing about him since the first week I had met him, and it hasn't stopped. It's been constant. And so Coach Al was really proud of Vernon Forrest and what he did in his style and how he developed him. And he wanted to instill that in me because we're both similar. Our body types are very similar, right? So long, lean. But the thing about Vernon is he was tall and he can use his reach, but he worked the body really, really well. And that's something that Coach Al's always wanted me to do and sort of emulate. So he put me in front of his fights and say, look how he gets to space, look how he uses his jab, but look how he shifts and goes to the body. And that's what you need to do. That's what's going to make you multidimensional. People are going to want to get you on the inside, but when they see you rip the body, they're going to be like, oh shoot. And then you have them right back out where you want them. So that was really important to him. And then just, I think overall, like, the character of Vernon Forrest, and he would just share stories with me and about their camps, and he learned a lot. So he takes what he learned in those Vernon camps and tries to instill them in my camp. We do the exact same workouts, the way he peaks me for a fight is exactly the same. And And so, yeah, it's gonna be good. It's good. And I like Brennan, and from watching him over and over again, like I love that style. I love that he can box and move, and I love how he digs to the body. So I just learned to he's just become my favorite fighter.
Thank you very much, Gail. And we will go to one final question for Mikaela, and that comes from Cynthia Conte. Cynthia, you're unmuted. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mikaela. So I remember watching you, or actually following your tweets when Harper and Jonas fought. One, what did you think of that fight, and how did you see that outcome? And then B, I know you would love to fight Harper. Do you think that fight could ever be made? And Bob Arum, you could also answer that. And would you also like to fight possibly Natasha Jonas, even though she's not a belt holder?
Natasha Jonas fight and Terry Harper went very similar to how I expected. I did not expect Terry Harper to just completely dominate Natasha Jonas. One, because Terry Harper's not that experienced, and Natasha Jonas is. I don't care. She's Harper's 23, Natasha Jonas 36, but the Jonas has that experience that Harper does not have. And I've been saying that from the beginning. Eddie Hearn got her that world title fight at rank number 13, and she's not ready. She's gonna get that fight, and she is not experienced enough to hold on to that belt. So I thought the score for that fight was fair. I do believe that it was a fair draw. I think that Natasha Jonas would have gotten the decision if she didn't let herself get backed into the ropes. But you can't go into a fight with a champ and be fighting with your back on the ropes. Like, that gets you a draw, not a win. So I was happy with the decision. And I absolutely hope that after I get this belt from Brodnicka, that Eddie Hearn and Harper will be willing to make this fight happen with me, so we can unify these belts. But because that's what they told me. They said, go get a belt, Mikaela, and then we'll talk about it. So yeah, Bob, hold them to their word when it comes to that. And no, I really don't have any desire to fight Natasha Jonas. If she gets a rematch with Harper and gets the belt, then hell yeah, let's fight. But I want to unify this 130-pound division, because there's girls at 135 that I'm ready to go and challenge myself against. Yeah, and other divisions after that. I want to be a multi-division world champion. So I want to unify this 130-pound division as fast as possible.
And Bob, about the unifications?
Oh, we do a lot of business with Eddie Hearn. We let him use our fighters. We use his fighters. So I don't see any difficulty in making that match. I mean, why not? Mikaela wins the title on Saturday. She'll be, I think, the most prominent woman in women's boxing, because thanks to ESPN, they are behind her, and ESPN is now clearly, without any question, the biggest platform for boxing. We saw what happened with the Lopez-Lomachenko fight. Over 3 million watched it on ESPN, and another 1.5 million watched it on ESPN Plus and the ESPN app. So when you do numbers like that, and Mikaela is part of the ESPN family, we can, I'm sure, make matches with any of the other champions in women's boxing.
Thank you, Bob. And Mikaela, I want to let you go on this question because nobody asked it, but I'm dying to know. Your opponent, Brodnicka, has a habit of doing some interesting things at weigh-ins and wanting to shock people. And she's kissed an opponent at one weigh-in. She's worn some interesting outfits, and she's sort of she's a showman, or for lack of a better term. Are you ready for any sort of head games that might come at this weigh-in?
All I know is that she is lucky there is a 6-foot distancing rule for now. Okay, that's all I know. And if she wants to show up to the weigh-ins and half naked, I mean, we're all half naked, but in her lingerie, then fine. Show up. People are going to tune in just to see her looking like that. So fine. tune in for that. I don't care what you tune in for, just tune in. I don't have a problem with what women decide to wear. If that makes her feel confident and strong going into this fight, then she should wear that. I care about boxing. I care about how she fights. So do what she wants going into the fight. It's not gonna help her out come Saturday night.
Well, I think that's a good place to close off. Mikaela, again, thank you so much for your time today, and we will see you in the bubble on Wednesday night, Thursday for the press conference. And again, the press conference Thursday will be live on ESPN Plus and available on the Top Rank YouTube channel immediately following the press conference. So Mikaela, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you in the bubble.
Thanks so much. See you guys soon.
Thank you.